Hey listeners, Sebastian here. Before we start off this week's episode, I have a couple of housekeeping items. We've been going at this for 2 months now, and I am overwhelmed by the positive feedback you've all provided on social media or through reviews. Everyone I've talked to has had only great things to say, and that encourages me to keep improving so that I don't let you down. All of your support pushes me to create something fun to listen to every 2 weeks. In trying to measure the success of a podcast, there are only a few metrics to go by. And for better or worse, one of them is reviews on Apple Podcasts. So here's my self-serving plea. If you're listening on an iPhone right now, please pause the episode and give the show a review. Don't worry, we'll still be here when you get back. This is a huge benefit to the show, and the feedback will only help us get better. So for me, please pause and review. Okay. Thanks. Self-promoting over. Next, I need to give a special shout out to Retro Vertigo for creating our brand new banner art. Check it out on our Twitter and Facebook pages by searching Hidden Pixels Pod. And make sure you check out all of Retro Vertigo's work. His game, Last Legend, is shaping up to be something straight out of the Super Nintendo classics. The pixel art is fantastic, and his sync attack system is giving me all of the Chrono Trigger vibes. It really looks amazing. Follow along with the progress at _lastlegend on Twitter and at lastlegend.manakeep, that's MANAKEEP.com. And that's all for admin. Thank you so much for supporting us, and I really hope you enjoy the story. Hi there, and welcome to the Hidden Pixels Podcast, a show highlighting those gaming stories you might have missed on your first playthrough. I'm Sebastian Azaro. On this episode, we're taking our first look at the Mario universe. This is a series that everyone is somewhat familiar with. From your siblings to your neighbor to your grandma, everyone can at least recognize that red-capped plumber. But there are hundreds upon hundreds of games in the Marioverse, many involving side characters such as Donkey Kong or Toad. And within these lesser-known games are many small stories and characters that only the most die-hard Nintendo fans will remember. So today, we're going to blend these two facets of the beloved universe. We're looking at a lesser-known game, Super Mario RPG: The Legend of the Seven Stars. This game came out for the Super Nintendo in the early 90s and starred Mario as you went on a quest to rebuild the Star Road. Along the way, you met a cast of colorful characters who would join you. You formed a group of heroes who would go on and save the Mushroom Kingdom. But while this is a lesser-known Mario game than, say, Super Mario 64, we will be looking at a very popular character. Everyone's favorite egg-laying, tongue-throwing dinosaur, Yoshi. In Super Mario RPG, Yoshi can't join your heroes as a playable character. Instead, he's hanging out on a remote, non-essential location called Yoster Isle, where he's suffering from his own problems. And that's where we'll pick it up. So let's dive in. On your mark, get set, go! The two dinosaurs took off down the raceway, the warm wind blowing against their hardened scales. They both laughed as the red dino pulled ahead by a couple of steps. She was closing in on the finish line, but at the last second, the green dinosaur pulled ahead and won the race. Both continued to laugh as they caught their breath. "Yoshi, I almost had you!" The green Yoshi patted the red one on the back. "Almost. Better keep training if I'm going to stay ahead of you. You're getting better every day." They basked for a moment in the sun, enjoying the hot summer's day. They were on Yoster's Isle, home of the Yoshis and paradise destination for many vacationers in the Mushroom Kingdom. Here, all of the Yoshis spent their days with the 3 R's, resting, racing, and relaxing. All except the green Yoshi, that is. Known throughout the kingdom simply as Yoshi, this green dinosaur has always had a nose for adventure. It had started back years ago, when Mario first came into his life. He found the baby Mario lost on the island, a pudgy little thing with an oversized red cap. The two became immediate friends and went on a ton of adventures throughout the years. Whether they were saving Mario's brother Luigi, saving the Princess Peach, or stomping on the evil Bowser, Mario and Yoshi were inseparable. But after years passed, Yoshi felt the call for home, for the sunny shores of Yoster Isle, where he could take in some rays and race with the other Yoshis. Eventually he parted ways with Mario, knowing that the plunky plumber would visit him someday. But once he returned, Yoshi learned that his home had changed since he had been gone. Racing went from an enjoyable pastime to the main thing Yoshis did. Everyone was training or prepping for one big race or another. While Yoshi wanted to take part in a little rest and relaxation, he also wanted to prove his mettle against all of his old buddies. I mean, he had just saved the kingdom multiple times, and all anyone could talk about were these races? He might as well beat those two. The top race on the entire island was the Mushroom Derby. This was a series of races where the winner would be declared the best racer on the island. Yoshi wasn't sure if he could win the entire derby, but he knew no matter what, he was going to give it his best. Yoshi ended up not doing so bad to start. He beat the red Yoshi in that close photo finish, and then he beat the yellow Yoshi in a quarterfinal matchup. Next up was the semifinals against purple Yoshi. Yoshi pushed as hard as he could, but he could tell that he just didn't have it. Purple Yoshi was a speedster, and by the second half of the course, he pulled away and got the win. Yoshi was slightly disappointed, but happy for the purple Yoshi. It was just fun racing and having a good time with everyone, and losing didn't ruin that at all. Yoshi joined the others cheering on the sidelines and looked to see who the purple Yoshi was going to face in the finals. And then he did a double take. The opponent was light blue, but he also wore a red spiked collar and sunglasses. He chomped on a cookie before throwing the wrapper on the ground. The other Yoshis weren't cheering nearly as loud when he lined up. This was Boshi, the rudest and most aggressive Yoshi on the island. Purple Yoshi went to shake hands, but Boshi just laughed and turned away. "Let's just race." Purple Yoshi looked a little unnerved, but lined up just the same. After all, it was a beautiful day and they were all having a good time. Can't let an awkward exchange ruin that. The gun sounded and the Yoshis took off. The crowd cheered and yelled their encouragement as the competitors ran neck and neck. But it was about halfway through the course when Boshi took out yet another cookie. Scarfing it down, he seemed to gain an additional boost, pushing forward and taking a commanding lead in the race. Purple Yoshi could only watch helplessly as Boshi won the race, becoming the Mushroom Derby champion. The Yoshis still ran over to celebrate Boshi and his accomplishment, but when they got there, he stopped them short. "Yo, yeah, you better all start congratulating me. I'm the best Yoshi there is. I'm the winner. That means I should be in charge of this place. From here on out, I'll make the rules for everyone. Unless someone here can prove that they're better than me, can anyone outrun me? No?" The other Yoshis looked around at each other, but none of them could argue. He was the fastest out of all of them, and they did like racing a lot. It made sense that the fastest Yoshi is in charge. So none of them disagreed. "No objections? Good! So as my first rule as the boss, there will be no more races. Rest and relaxation for everyone, but if I see anyone racing, they'll be sorry." Yoshi was shocked, but he couldn't argue. Everyone agreed that Boshi was in charge, and now he got to make the rules. All of the other Yoshis wandered off, not really knowing what to do now that they couldn't race. Boshi laughed and went to sit in the shade, proud of how he worked the system. Yoshi went down to the coast, feeling disoriented and helpless. Maybe it was a mistake to come back. Weeks passed and nothing on Yoster Isle got better. Many visitors from around the Mushroom Kingdom came to see what the Yoshis were up to, but all were disappointed to learn that the Mushroom Derby was no longer going on. Yoshi spent most of his time lounging in the shade. Not a bad way to live life, but definitely a change from the death-defying adventures with Mario. Yoshi wondered what the plumber had been up to since they parted ways. Mario would know how to get the Yoshis out of this Boshi mess. He'd always know how to save the day. "It's-a me, Mario." Yoshi thought he was dreaming. He opened his eyes, sleepily looking around, when he realized that the Italian hero was right there in front of him. Yoshi couldn't believe it. "Mario, glad you finally made it to Yoster Isle, home of the Mushroom Derby. How'd you get here? And who are these guys?" Yoshi was finally noticing Mario's strange companions. One looked like a cloud, and the other seemed to be a walking puppet. "Oh, this is a Marlo. He recently found out that he was adopted, and now he are looking for his real parents." Mario then pointed to the puppet. "And this is a Gino. He is a doll, but he really is a star from the Star Road. They're going to help us save the Mushroom Kingdom. Again!" Yoshi shook the cloud in the puppet's hands, and then they got down to business. "Say, now that you're here, we could really use your help. Please talk to the other Yoshis here and—" Yoshi trailed off, noticing the look of concern on Mario's face. We try to talk to them, but they don't understand us like you can, Yoshi." "What? You can't understand them? Well, hop aboard and I'll be your interpreter." Mario beamed. Just like old times. The plumber and the dino were teaming up again, and nothing could stop them. Not piranha plants, not Hammer Brothers, and not Boshi. They were going to turn this place back into the island racing paradise that it once was. The plumber hopped onto Yoshi's back, and the two ran over to the nearby pink Yoshi. The pink dinosaur at first started to back away slowly, startled by the image of a grown Italian man sitting on top of one of her kind. Whoa, wait, don't be afraid. I'm totally cool with it." Yoshi did a couple of spins to prove that in fact he was very much cool with it. The pink Yoshi relaxed a bit, but was still hesitant. "Okay, what's going on, guys?" Mario spoke while Yoshi translated for his Italian friend. "So you would like to race, right?" The pink Yoshi made a face as though Mario asked if they liked to breathe. "What? Are you cracked? Racing's my life. I could run all day." And with that, she ran off. Yoshi whispered to his friend, "We need to reopen those races, Mario." Mario thought for a second. Because Boshi was in charge, he was the only one who could decide when to hold the Mushroom Derby. And he was only in charge because he was the fastest Yoshi. So all they had to do was convince him to race one more time and then beat him. Then they could reopen the races. Mario and Yoshi talked with all of the other Yoshis, but it was just more of the same. "It would be much better if we could all race together. Boshi here is the fastest runner, but he's so full of himself. Boshi only races one-on-one, so everyone can't join us. Bummer." It was decided. Yoshi and Mario were going to challenge Boshi to the race to decide all races. They were going to bring back all 3 R's of Yoster Isle: resting, racing, and relaxing. They jogged over to the blue Yoshi, who was chomping on cookies while lounging in the shade. "Get up, Boshi, we want to challenge you to a race." "Yeah, we want to show you who's the fastest." Boshi lowered his sunglasses so they could see his smug glare. "What you looking at? If you want to challenge me, you have to bring me more cookies." He chomped down 3 more delicious cookies before going back to ignoring our heroes. It seemed like Boshi had a little bit of a cookie problem. Yoshi and Mario walked away disappointed, but not totally disheartened. After all, how hard could it be to get some cookies? They ran all over the island, asking everyone if they knew where they could get their hands on some of those sweet, sweet treats. But the other Yoshis were just so upset at Boshi, they couldn't think of anything else. "It would be so much better if we could all race together. Boshi is the fastest runner, but he's so full of himself. Boshi only races one-on-one, so everyone can't join in. Bummer." Yoshi and Mario were a little unnerved by the eerie repetition, but didn't get a chance to dwell on it for too long. A loud psst came from over by the trees on the other side of the island. There was another pink Yoshi almost hidden in the foliage. "Hey, Yoshi, you think you can beat old Boshi today?" Yoshi looked surprised that this other Yoshi knew of their plans to race. Of course." The pink Yoshi smiled a knowing smile. "Here, take my cookies. Good luck. I'll be rooting for you. She then dumped a stack of cookies into Mario's hands. Yoshi beamed. Thanks! I've got major support on my side, so I could probably win today. He high-fived Mario, who was just trying to understand the basics of this cookie-backed economy. They finally had the cookies, and they were ready to challenge Boshi. So, you brought the cookies. Alright, consider yourself lucky today because you've got yourself a race. 1-on-1. Boshi looked at all of the cookies in front of him, salivating at the thought of eating each and every one. He was kind of a weird dude. He got up and started to stretch, already preparing for the race. Mario and Yoshi realized that they should follow suit. They ran over to their side of the racetrack, where Gino the puppet and Mallow the Cloudman were laying in the sun. Hey, Mario, are we done here yet? You do remember that we're trying to save the kingdom, right? Mario blushed a little in guilt. Oh, that's alright. Let me help my pal Yoshi first, and then we'll go and save the kingdom. It'll just be a minute. Just then, a little man with a mushroom-shaped head stepped up to the group. His people were known as Toads, and he was the MC for the Mushroom Derby. Get ready, the Mushroom Derby's coming up. Do you want instructions? Yoshi had never made the finals of the Derby, and he didn't consider that there were new rules in place for this race. Sure. So during this race, you want to step along with the rhythm of the music that we play. The tighter the rhythm, the faster you go. You are also allowed to eat cookies during the race. Its energy will help you go faster. Don't forget, keep stepping in time with the beat. Yoshi gave Mario a nervous look. This isn't how they were used to racing. But it was Boshi's race, so now it was his rules. The two practiced a little, Mario still riding atop Yoshi and directing him on his rhythm. Once they got the hang of it, the Toad waved goodbye. Now, shall we go to the race? They walked over to the starting line and reached out to shake hands with Boshi. Once again, he scoffed at the offer of sportsmanship. This is as easy as it gets. The music started and the two lined up. This was it, the race to decide the fate of all races. The Toad shouted, "Go!" and the two were off, stepping in beat with the music and moving on down the track. Boshi got off to an early lead, but Yoshi quickly overtook him. With Mario helping him keep time, Yoshi started to pull away from the increasingly frustrated Boshi. The crowd was cheering loudly, but those cheers turned to yells. Mario turned around just in time to see Boshi cramming 3 cookies into his mouth. His speed dramatically increased, and he narrowed the gap just as the two were coming to the finish line. It was going to be neck and neck, a photo finish. It seemed as though they crossed the finish line at the same time. They both stopped, gasping for air, and looked hopefully at the Toad. And the winner is Yoshi! The crowd erupted in cheers, and all of the inhabitants rushed Yoshi and Mario. Whoa, unbelievable! You just beat Boshi! Starting today, Yoshi's the new boss around here. Yoshi was so happy, getting caught up in the moment. He was the fastest Yoshi. The races could happen again. It was then when he felt a tap on his shoulder. Boshi was right there behind him, looking upset. Since when have you been able to sprint like that? But then he finally extended his hand to congratulate Yoshi. Oh well, I had my day in the sun. Let me give you a tip. Race someone slow. That way you'll be able to stash away the cookies. Boshi started to walk away, chomping on his last few treats, when Yoshi stopped him. But we don't need a new boss. Anyway, I just want to race. All the other Yoshis looked astonished, as though they had never realized that they could just race like they used to. That there didn't need to be a head Yoshi around. But now, knowing that the races were here for good, their excitement doubled. Yoshi laughed at everyone celebrating. Come on, Boshi, let's see what you're made of. Boshi looked skeptical, but after a moment gave in. Now the pressure was off of him as well. Alright, just stay out of my way. Oh, and here's the cookie stash for the winner. And with that, the two of them took off in a rematch. But this time, it was just for fun. later that day, after many races among all of the Yoshis on the island, when Yoshi finally reconvened with Mario's party. Gino and Mallow looked slightly bored, but happy that they could finally move on with their quest. Yoshi didn't care about them, though. He went straight up to Mario and hugged him. "Thanks to you, Mario, I finally beat that rascal, and now we can all race together." Mario blushed. "Oh, it's a nothing, Yoshi. We're a great team together." Before Mario could finish, Yoshi pulled something out from behind his back. Handing it to Mario, he said, "Here's something to remember me by." Mario looked it over as Yoshi placed it in his hands. It was a giant cookie. Mario looked thankful, but a little confused. Thanks, Yoshi. Delicious." "Next time you're in trouble, use this to give me a call. I could smell that crumbly goodness from miles away." Mario pocketed the cookie. "Of course, see you around, Yoshi." The plucky plumber waved goodbye and went off to his group, and Yoshi ran off to join the races that were still ongoing. Finally, things on Yoster Isle were back to normal. Over the next few weeks, Mario and his pals ended up performing some amazing feats. They saved the Mushroom Kingdom once again, they destroyed the evil Schmitty who is threatening all of the free people of the world, and they rebuilt Star Road back to its magical, glittering form. But the Yoshis on Yoster Isle were already experiencing that freedom and happiness. After Mario and Yoshi saved the day, the races continued and the Yoshis were free from any bosses imposing their will. Yoster Isle became a tourist destination once again, where toads would come to get away from it all. And even if a bad apple or a wily crocodile did show up, they just joined in on the fun. They didn't try to take over or destroy the island, they just took part in the races with the Yoshis. The community on that island just made everyone else chill out as soon as they arrived. And to this day, they're still practicing the 3 R's of Yoster Isle: resting, racing, and relaxing. As I said on the top of the show, the Mario universe is one of the most beloved in all of video games. People of all ages can immediately recognize Mario, Luigi, or Bowser, but it's the fact that there are so many smaller stories that piques my attention. There are characters such as Gino or Mallow who have only appeared in a few stories, but are still compelling as individuals. And the smaller stories concerning major characters, such as today's, really deepens my understanding of where these characters come from. The diversity of games in the Mario-verse is unparalleled as well. Yoshi stars in the main Mario games, but also in the spin-off sports games such as Mario Kart, fighting games like Super Smash Bros., and his own main adventures such as the newly released Yoshi's Crafted World. And that's just one character who started off as simply a new way for Mario to interact with his game. The diversity in game genres can only come from a rock-solid foundation of lovable characters, and no one does that better than Nintendo. They may not be the deepest, most thought-provoking games, but if it includes Yoshi, you know it's going to be chocked full of cute, simple joy. Next time, we're tackling another pillar of video game lore, Bethesda's The Elder Scrolls. Once we're done sifting through the dragons, Draugrs, and Dwemer, we should have our most epic episode yet. So grab your battle axe, tell a couple friends, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. And as always, thanks for listening. Today's show was written, recorded, and produced by me, Sebastian Azaro. All sources used today can be found in the episode details on our website, hiddenpixelspodcast.com. Episodes are available now on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. If you like what you heard, or even if you didn't, please subscribe and leave us a review. And follow us on Facebook at Hidden Pixels Podcast and Twitter at Hidden Pixels Pod. We also just released a brand spanking new Instagram account at Hidden Pixels Podcast, so check that out as well. And of course, thanks for listening.